Timberwolves going to Christmas as winners, getting the 12-point win in Sacramento against the Kings, who are the 4 seed in the Western Conference. Timberwolves at the 1 seed at 22-6, and Sacramento falls to 17-11 after the loss. You can tell I'm at home right now, different background. And the Timberwolves would have a perfect home if it weren't for these Sacramento Kings, who delivered us our only home loss of the season thus far, as we're 12-1 earlier this year in our first game against them. In that game, De'Aaron Fox lit us up completely, and it seemed like they may have shown the blueprint of what can take out our number 1 defense. Ultimate speed from De'Aaron Fox, and bringing our 2 bigs and having them guard the top double screen action and having both of them at the top of the key, no one back to protect the paint. But that wasn't something they could even go to tonight, as Karl Anthony Towns would miss this game for the Timberwolves. And then on the Sacramento side, kind of little Tracy's that they can have. They were on the second night of a back-to-back where they have yet to win this year. And they were also missing Malik Monk, who would be my pick for 6th Man of the Year as of now. He's super impactful for them off the bench, shooting the ball well, and his playmaking has really taken a step in this year, where he's averaging over 5 assists per game, and he makes a huge impact on this Sacramento Kings team. So him not being in there was a big difference. Also, I was watching the Kings feed, since I absolutely hate the neutered sports network, so I find these games in other ways at times. So I had the Kings feed, and they talked all night long about how big of a difference not having Malik on the court was, which I agree with. But a lot of this was just greatness from the Timberwolves, and we didn't even get it from a lot of guys. I firstly want to shout out Jaden McDaniels, because I've been talking about kind of his growth on offense the last couple games. 20 points in this one again after nights of 21 a couple games ago, and about 18, I think, in the last game. And that was something that I viewed with a bunch of optimism to start this year, because he missed a couple games due to injury. He came back, was having some fouling issues, couldn't be on the court. Then he has to miss another chunk of games. And I'm like, we're not even getting Jaden McDaniels on the court a lot of the time. He can't find an offensive okay dance, which I think will come there. And we're still winning all these games. And now we're getting Jaden on the defensive end, who you know he always brings the D. I changed his name to reflect that fact. And now we're seeing him put together things offensively and have a bit more confidence, a little bit more comfortability. Still a work in progress. And he's just continuing to grow, though. And that's the greatest thing about this Wolves team that is tied for the best record in the NBA at Christmas, is there's so much room to grow. There's a lot of steps that can still be taken. Anthony Edwards, 34 points, 10 assists in this game. I still feel like there's a lot that he can do to improve, even with how operant he has been all year long. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball very well from 3 in this one. I feel like the frequency of his drives is way down. Also, he's just getting way more attention, and he is the absolute focus of defenses now. So it's not like that's as easy for him as years past. But I think we need to get him driving the ball more, trying to get to the rim more. His mid-range getting better is nice, but that also means that he's getting to the hoop less. And I think there's some improvements that can be made there. And you see 10 assists. He also had 5 turnovers, although 0 in the second half, which I liked to see that improvement. But he makes so many great reads and passes. If he can start to limit some of the turnovers and a little bit of the sloppy play too, then he's going to continue to elevate. And I have faith that he can continue to do that. And sky is the limit for Anthony Edwards. As I mentioned, we don't have Karl Anthony Towns in this game. Who steps up as well? Rudy Gobert. Oh my, 21 points, 17 rebounds. We had a lot of pick and roll action with him in the first half, especially in this game. He was very involved. Like to see that. And then it felt like he just amped up the offensive rebounding pressure, where he's just going like windmill arms, smacking the ball against the backboard, just keeping possessions alive, and was a menace, getting us so many boards. He had 6 offensive rebounds in this one of our team's 7. Another interesting thing with us in this game, fast break points, I think the differential was 28-5, which is usually something we get burned on. A lot of those points are sourced from our defense too. I want to talk about a stretch where we have a 22-point lead in the fourth quarter. You'd think that things are kind of wrapped up, but we are still the Timberwolves. We got a little bit of that DNA still left in us. And the Kings are just rolling. Keegan Murray making tough shots. Trey Lyles, who always shows out against the Wolves for whatever reason, starts to hit some jumpers. And they go on a 13-0 run. The lead will get down to as close to 5 with just a couple minutes left. Then what do you see? Jaden McDaniels drives, gets a layup after we'd been taking a couple jump shots and having some stalled offensive possessions. And then we get Anthony Edwards getting a steal, turning that into a dunk. Then we have Jaden McDaniels getting a block, turning into an Anthony Edwards and one. And then their chances are just gone. Also, immediately after that, Jaden McDaniels impacting another De'Aaron Fox 3, which was a big difference too. He was dominant in the first half, De'Aaron Fox, and then Jaden was able to limit him a ton. We did not have Jaden in that first game to guard De'Aaron, and it makes a big difference when you have one of the best defenders on the planet to throw at a star player and just deter everything that they try. Also love that it was Mike Conley to hit a 3 with like 35 seconds left to really just push in that dagger deeper and deeper into the Kings to fully end that one. He had a pretty solid game too, 12 points, 9 assists. Not explosive out of him, and it wasn't production from a lot of people in this game. Like bench numbers, just don't even look at them. All right, there wasn't much going on, and we were shorthanded as well with Cat in the line, or not being in the lineup, and Kyle Anderson shared letters in that one. Sorry. Kyle Anderson starting in his place. He was kind of out of it too. He had 4 really early fouls, one of them being like a take foul in transition when he already had the 3. And his game was a little off, although I thought his second half was better. And I don't know, it was just like Jaden and Gobert really elevating our games, and our team just having really impressive maturity throughout this season. They're here to show up, do their business, get dubs, and continue to improve. This team is legit. Some other things I want to mention about how great we limited the Kings in this game, because we held them to 98 points, under 100, which is significant for such an explosive offense. It was also the first game that the Kings did not make 10 threes in a game. They would only have 8 in this one and shoot 24%. They also did not score 30 points in a single quarter, so that just shows the impact and the consistency of what this Timberwolves team was able to do on the defensive end and just fully pull them back. And I even thought that like Gobert did not have one of his best games. He really struggled to stop Sabonis one-on-one, and he just went up against the gauntlet of centers that he struggled with last year, going Embiid, Anthony Davis, Sabonis. He kind of got worked by all 3, to be honest, but he really did step up on the offensive end for us and was still a menace and found ways to impact the game. Also, another side note, Sabonis just completely weenuses him in the face to get a poster dunk over Gobert. And I really think that you're allowed to do whatever you want if you're trying to dunk the ball on offense. Like the amount of offensive fouls that just get put to the side where you're flailing arms, you're smacking people in the face just to get a dunk off. Like, we got to take advantage of that. Anthony Edwards, try to dunk on people more. They're not going to call a lot of offensive fouls. I know some great ones have been taken away. But just explode. Try to jump over people. Punch them in the face as you're doing it. Like, you're going to get away with it. Take advantage. We're going to be back on Tuesday, day after Christmas. If you celebrate, I hope you have a great one. If you don't, I also hope you have a great one. But less applicable. All right, peace out.